How's it going, Northern Schmoeland? I don't know. I usually say Schmoeland, but this is like just the Northerners. So if you're American, please just leave. This is just for Canadians, which two of us are
Well,
not.
wait a minute. I'm American.
And so perfect. So welcome to Schmoes of the North, and we're talking about the pay-per-view that just happened. And with us, of course, is down here we got the amazing Dan. How you been? I haven't been on the show with you for too long.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've my new work schedule has made like both viewing the Schmoedown and also doing the after shows just incredibly complicated. Because at best, it's imagine you wake up at 6 a.m. every day to go to work as a normal person. Now wake up at 5 a.m. on your Saturday so that you can watch the whole match in crunch time and then do a show immediately after. It's really tough.
Nice.
So glad to be here. And honestly, this was an incredible match that we're gonna break down, and I wanted a great match and was not expecting as good a one as we got.
Really good match. And of course, we got our fresh off the mountain. We got our Mount Schmoedown guy, Ben. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me tonight, and I'm excited to talk about this incredible match.
Heck yeah. Well, do we just want to jump right into like expectations, what we had going in, like we normally do?
Sure.
Sure.
Well, I hate to be the guy who says bad things about Mark Riley because he's such a nice guy, but I really thought it was just Liz Shannon Miller's going in. I know that Riley has been getting, like, his last couple performances have been a lot better, but I just didn't put him at that level of, like, Liz was just in that little mini tournament. Didn't she play Roca just right, I believe? But like the caliber of people she's been playing and winning against, I was like, it's kind of. I honestly thought they were putting Riley into a buzzsaw, and I know how wrong I am now. But that was my first thought. Was like, ooh, that's brutal. Okay, but I don't like saying things that mean. But what do you guys think? Who do you have coming in?
Well, it's funny because going in, I thought it was anybody's game. To me, they seem like potentially two equal players at the same level. So I look at it as like it could have been anybody's game. I wanted Riley, but I would have been happy if this one too. And the way that each of them played was great. I don't think I have any complaints about this match.
Yeah, I happen to have a recording of my thoughts before this match because I was talking about it just this morning. And like I was actually saying before the match that I kind of and this is my own fault. I kind of saw the pay-per-view as a little lacking with just this match because while I like both of these competitors a lot, I also thought that it could have been a great opportunity to throw in like a rookie match as an undercard to this. And but that said, I did mention that like Riley has such a like he has such yeah, Riley has such a like cachet of like goodwill both from his personality and his past play that makes him always like the live event headline, right?
Yeah.
Even like it doesn't matter how Riley plays. Everybody in the Schmoedown loves him. He is the household name of Schmoedown, other than Merle, other than Roca. Like,
yeah,
when you think of these great names, even without the millions of accolades that Dan Merle needed to accrue, Riley is just beloved by everybody. And like I felt a little bad for him in his last few matches because he he does seem to be put up in these positions where he's put up against the next up and comer. He's constantly being forced to play the person we expect to beat the champion. Like, I'm surprised he's not playing Marisol McKee. Like, honestly.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, because he a lot of times, like when he was playing Janine, when Janine was still like, yeah, I agree with you. I think. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this real quick. Let's not forget. He might be he is the first original champion.
Yeah,
and he might
absolutely.
be the first face to talk wrestling terms. He might be the first face of the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
No wonder why everybody loves him. Everyone wants him to win because of that.
Yeah. That's actually what I was gonna say. If you no, not I wasn't gonna say it like in that terms, but it was that of people who watched it from the beginning. When I first started watching, which was still like before they put it into their own show, and it was still part of the Schmoes Know podcast, he was already the champion. I started watching when they did their first teams match, season 2, technically, and I was introduced to him as he's unstoppable, he's the champ. And then when we actually went into season 3 and they got their own YouTube, like they were doing their own show, and kind of the iteration that became this, it was still, Riley's unbeatable. He had a couple people who went against him, and then Dan Murrell happened, and Dan Murrell beat him. And it jumped between Murrell and Roca and Riley for a while. It was just those 3 guys at the top for like 2 seasons. It feels like it felt like Sam ruined it for everybody. But I do, with what you're saying of being the first heel or first face, Roca was the first heel, and it was from ripping the microphone from Riley, and Riley saying, "I'm going to shut this big dumb guy up." Like that was what, like it was the first
and
real.
Then he did.
Yeah, he totally did. Dressed as a Karate Kid.
Yeah, and that is a very good point, especially like when you look at the trio of those 3 guys from way back in the day. And this was at a time where like Jeff Snyder and William Bibiani were in their rookie seasons, and like this was them making a name for themselves. These are the names we think of now, and we add to the conversation every single year. Yeah. But yeah, back then you had like Dan, who was the trivia monster. You had Roca, who was the actual monster. And then you had Riley, the hero who was coming to take down the monster. And so every time Riley comes out to play, I'm honestly rooting for him. Like whether I think he's going to win the match based on like analytics or statistics, and I can't even say much in that way about Riley, because while he doesn't have singles luck, he does have teams luck. Like, Who's the Boss was a damn good team. The Wolves of Steel were a damn good team. Like, he is such a good player. He's one of those like Chance Ellison types that just the luck factor of the Schmoedown just kicks them in the teeth every now and then.
But as we'll see later, he didn't let luck have anything. He came prepared today, and luck can go F itself, because I came ready.
if we pulled the mask off of Mark Riley today, Josh McCouga might have been under there.
At least in round 3.
Yeah, maybe. I just want to say one thing real quick. You forgot one of the teams he was on. Don't forget, he was on Team Champions. And Dan Murrell way back in the original
season 2
version of the show.
Yep.
Yeah, I barely count that because they had 2 matches. Like, I find a team really establishes itself once you see 3 or more, and just playing that one tiny little tournament sample was hard to look at.
It's really that iteration of teams. It's comparing apples to oranges. Like that team, the way that was set up, like how they answer questions, when they answer, all of it was completely different for that whole season, which was just a little tournament. But
and I'm sorry, man, I didn't have to bring it right now.
No, you're right. It still counts. It's still considered season 2, and there were still team champs. And it was awesome that the champion of movie fights and the champion of the Schmoedown paired together. That's just super cool. That was awesome, and they called themselves team champs. And it was before Dan even had a singles match in here, because he was the first season 3 match against Campia, and that kicked off the era, of whatever we're doing now. But it's so funny because back then I remember thinking, Dan Murrell's good, but this isn't movie fights. Campia's got him.
Yeah.
God, I was wrong.
And I think it came down to a question about an actress, and I want to say it was Elizabeth Taylor, right?
Maybe. I haven't rewatched that match in a long time. I have rewatched it a couple times. There was one before I met you fellas. There was a inter-season time where we were between seasons, and I just needed my Schmoedown fix, and I watched everything leading back up to the season. I rewatched season 1 I rewatched 3 and 4 and getting all the way up, and I was like, God, that's where this guy comes in. Oh, like it was a nice little nostalgia heroin to the vein. But let's get into round 1, and not too much happened. To report, Riley had a dewberry. He went perfect and got the bonus. Liz missed a Godfather 3 question of who played his nephew. Michael Corleone's nephew in Godfather 3. That was question 2. It was Andy Garcia. I don't know who she said. I've never heard that name before. The guy she said. That's it. That's all I got for round 1. That's all that happened was one missed question from Liz. It was a Godfather 3 question, which we all agree.
There's 3 in the match, so
yeah, and there's 1 per round.
And in fact, even the one that was missed in round 2 was also hit in round 2. But
what really
stop by him.
What really bonus question? Do either of you remember?
What was the bonus question?
Yeah.
I might be able to pull. I don't have it written down.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
No.
Yeah,
I can't pull it. I remember it not being that hard.
Yeah, I remember.
No, I think Liz had it, but you don't get to answer it.
Yeah, I remember it being kind of, and I do feel like they do that a lot, where a lot of the bonuses seem a little, like they're not easy by any means. Well, sometimes they are, but it's all subjective. But they never seem like they're any harder than, like they're always just slight softballs. But maybe that's just me, because
I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say.
I mean, I think it's just a coincidence. They don't specifically go, put it the easy ones as bonuses, but it seems like it happens a lot where I get the bonus a lot more than if I ever played, I'd be the dude who knew the bonus, but I missed like 4. So I don't get to answer it.
Honestly, I have probably answered more questions in round 3 than in round 1 in singles. So
this is a really good round 3.
I cannot even fathom playing in the singles division. I think I could swing some inner geekdom with some study, but like the amount of movies that I just have not seen is like so vast.
I think I do better at singles. I think I do the best at teams. But I mean, I just feel like if I have another person to work off of and this and that, I think I'd be really good. And somebody I don't like saying somebody to fill my gaps, but there's that sentence. I said it out loud. So, but I think Inner Geekdom I could do fine, but I have like in Inner Geekdom when it comes to the ones I know a lot. Like I could kill Star Wars, I can kill DC, I can kill Marvel. I know nothing about Lord of the Rings. I'm like okay on Harry Potter. I know nothing on Star Trek, so there'd be a few where I'm like completely
Okay,
screwed.
so we're screwed. I was gonna say we're almost a perfect team because I know Lord of the Rings, I know Harry Potter, I'm pretty good in Star Wars, but I don't know Star Trek either.
Dang
so.
it! Then we need Star Trek. I don't know Harry Potter, but my wife's Star Wars. My Star Wars is Star Wars. My wife's Star Wars is Harry Potter. So you get some of that rollover where I do okay in the rounds, but it's not. It's just because I watch Harry Potter weekend every time we're at a hotel because we have to.
Well, I know
Yeah,
Harry
I mean,
Potter. I know Harry
if
Potter.
I didn't know Harry Potter, I'd be a little concerned.
Do you have a Harry Potter hat? I can't even tell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. You're a Slytherin? Oh,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I took the test on Pottermore, and I'm a Ravenclaw, and so is my wife. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being a Ravenclaw. I think they're low key the coolest house. So
I'm Gryffindor.
It's arguable. Bah.
Gryffindor's like boo Gryffindor. Like of course.
Why?
Like,
Why?
What do you mean why? All right, because they stole the best Ravenclaw person ever, which is Hermione. Hermione belonged in Ravenclaw, and they just put her in the Gryffindor cuz Harry was there.
They also stole the best Hufflepuff in Neville Longbottom, and
I know you're gonna say Ron, but all Weasleys are Gryffindors, so he has to go. Like the hat would be literally like making them like the mom's like he's like, oh, I'm gonna make your mom finally knit a different sweater.
Like, anybody should be mad at me, Nando, because Gryffindor is so heavy from Slytherin.
Yeah, but Slytherin's like that cool. Like the punk in me wants to be Slytherin. Like it's like that low key badass. I'm gonna go hang out in the dungeon and study the dark arts. Screw you guys. It's like the
Also,
punk rock version.
Yeah, and it's also like fucking Merlin. Like the most like ambitious and like the people who are like striving for excellence, whereas like Ravenclaws just are like kind of excellent as
We're
the
nerds.
bar, and then
We're nerds.
yeah, and they're looking for inner mysteries, and Hufflepuffs are looking for happiness essentially, and Gryffindors are looking for love. Like that's essentially how it boils down. when you're not looking at it strictly as like dark wizard, stoner, nerd, everyone else.
I do want to. I think we're about out of time. Thanks for everybody showing up to Let's Taco About Harry Potter. This is our first episode.
Okay, it was only like a 4-minute tangent.
And then also we only have one match, so I am not holding back on tangents at all.
So let's talk about another inner geekdom category, which is Star Trek. To be fair,
yes. To be fair,
I did say that I don't know Star Trek, but I did get 3 of these questions.
Well, Liz
I
Shannon
haven't seen any of the movies.
Liz Shannon Miller got 4 of them, and she killed it.
Yeah,
that was impressive. That was impressive.
Okay,
I saw it in her
tangent.
eyes when she got it. Well, let me say my 1 second thing, and then you can say your multiple minute thing. But as soon as she's like, "Oh, cool, Star Trek, huh?" Like you saw it, I'm like, "Oh, she's gonna kill it." Like she had a glare in her eyes that just like the Enterprise went past her pupil, and you're like, "Oh, she's got this." I felt it. All right, go ahead, Daniel.
It was Star Trek and dance, and Lightning Time and Deception with Star Trek and dance as well. My question is, has anyone here read the rule book?
Between us 3?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No? Okay.
No.
But I'm flipping back to look at the match you're talking about to see if it was Star Trek and dance.
Yeah, because Deception was given Star Trek, and
Yep, you're right.
Ethan and Liz got Dance.
Yep.
And the other thing I was going to go back to is Liz's last singles match, where she also spun dance movies. And so
Holy
I'm
crap.
curious about if the Kalinowski rule, as we called it.
But she didn't get dance.
No, but
that's why I think.
That's kind of what I'm curious about. And is it certain number of matches put in? Is it certain times it's
because
spun?
the rule is you can't put it on the wheel. So it's on the wheel. So one would assume Riley wouldn't have put it on. So then the whoever the powers that be put it on. But that would be weird that they would put on her strength. So yeah, you're right.
That's
You're
why
right.
I'm assuming she put, especially with it happening in 3 matches in a row, Liz Shannon Miller has absolutely, without a doubt, been putting dance on the wheel.
Yeah, and it should be the Kalinowski James Bond rule at this point.
I am also curious if the separate divisions make a distinction there.
I don't think that does.
I think it could, honestly. I think you could argue that like you can play dance in 2 matches and then you can't play it in your 3rd, and then you can do the same in teams because, well, my teammate might not be good in these movies, but like you can't just eliminate my strength because I'm also using it in singles. It's my strength, you know? It's not my fault I'm playing 8 matches this year.
no, you're totally completely right. I don't.
And so yeah, it's
is that actually
curious.
A rule? I knew it was a rule.
Know.
I know pre-rule book it was a rule, but
yeah,
I haven't read the rule
book.
book.
There's something similar, and I was just curious to see if anybody had some either insight or some thoughts on that. I do believe that if this rule stands, that at the very least, Liz's next singles match, dance will not be on the wheel.
It should not be on the wheel. But again, even though she answered a question in dance, she didn't get it. But yeah, she did give it to him as an opponent's choice, which is essentially like half getting it.
Yeah, which is why I believe the proper wording of the rule should be putting it on the wheel.
Putting it on the wheel.
Necessarily spinning it.
That's the way it was before, it was putting it on the wheel. Because what they're gonna in the middle of the match, you spin it and they're like, nope, you got that last time. Then why'd you put it on the dang wheel then? Yeah, so it's putting it on the wheel. But one would assume Riley didn't put it on the wheel, but did somebody else? Was it just a weird oversight that whoever decides a wheel check? We're like, dance is a good neutral one, like what it is.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And the other thing to mention is that I do believe in this season, competitors pick 3 slices, and then the wheel makers take 2 of those and put them on the wheel for you.
In singles, I think you're right. It's either that or the other way around. I think that they might only pick 2. Or maybe that was just last year, but
the idea
of being able to put
just to kind of shake it up, you choose 3, and then the wheel makers take 2 of your choices, and they put those on the wheel.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I could say put Star Wars, Oscars, and movie release dates, and they say Oscars, movie release dates, keep Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I follow you. By the way, those are not my 3 strengths. I think I do pretty good at Oscars.
All right.
I've studied Oscars. I love the Oscars. So.
Oh, nice.
I'd do great or terrible at movie release dates. Like, there's some that I'm just, especially the ones that kind of happen in like important times. I have them like ingrained into my like very soul, and even like some that happened before my time, like 1987's Lord of the Rings. I know that is 87. I know it so well. I grew up watching that movie. It sucked horribly. And it's just like there are certain ones that are just like they will never leave me. And then there's other ones that I'm just like, I don't know.
Okay.
It was
First
in the
off,
90s.
That Lord of the Rings did not suck. All right, man. I love that animation style because I love Wizards. So, and that's the same guy who made Wizards, and Wizards is kind of like the shit. Like, I love it because you know you got to be a freshman in high school and smoke a joint and watch Wizards and just get your mind blown. So, I mean, or whatever you want to partake in. But I do agree. I have all the staple like. You know, I know when Star Wars came out because it's so important to know when Star Wars came out because its movies are pre or post Star Wars. And then I know when Jaws came out because that's what like exploded blockbusters. And I know when Halloween came out because it birthed the slasher genre. It wasn't the first slasher, but it gave way to all slashers afterward. So I know all of those. But if you're like, hey, when did Twins come out? No. But yeah, I think I'm okay on movie release dates, but I'm not great. I couldn't tell you any random movie.
I'm so. I think I could get into within a year or two if I had a movie. Like,
Well, it's
never mind. I know I'm interested.
well, also it's studyable, which is why if I was a player, you look at the study. I'll do exactly what Ben Bateman did, and what I've made fun of him for doing is you find the nothing's easy, but the studyable categories where you don't have to watch a million movies for. And that's your movie release dates, your Oscars, your soundtracks. You don't need to watch a movie to know that a guy did the soundtrack. You can just read that he did it. You don't have to watch it and hear it. Go, who's that? So those are.
I want to advocate one more time for my John Williams slice in the Schmoedown.
Heck yeah!
Especially in like even in IG, 90% of those movies are IG movies at this point. Like you just get a nice John Williams slice, and you could get a Harry Potter question, you could get a Star Wars question, you could get just a million different things. Like
the fact that John Williams is in a category is kind of insane.
Well, don't they have composers?
Yeah, they just have.
But I want a John Williams slice where you could get asked. Yeah. I
hate that we don't have a writer's slice, honestly, and I've hated that forever. I've always hated that we don't have a writer's slice because if you want to bring it, I consider writers and directors equal. Am I an idiot for thinking that? Maybe, but writers are super important to me because I love writing, and I wish there was a writer's slice.
Here's the thing about writers. You play devil's advocate. One movie could have like 5 writers on it. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, but
and then actually we could also get into like times where the writer who ends up in the credits isn't necessarily the person who wrote the script because the studio purchases it, rips all of the like bones out of it, and it together.
Whatever. Like, you just knew Hollywood and me. Away from it. You freaking damn Hollywood.
Again, before I got very pessimistic about it, I was going to mention that it is nice that they started asking more questions about writers, and I have definitely seen an uptick in those in the last 2 seasons.
They're just the unsung hero. I'm just saying, I love writers.
I agree with you. And I was only playing devil's advocate. I agree with you. There should be a writers.
I don't even know who I'm quoting, so I shouldn't even say it. But it was a guy on, I think it was a Mark Maron WTF, but he was talking to a guy who's a writer, and he's like, all right, what's the difference between being a writer and being an actor? And he's like, well, being an actor is like being like the fun uncle, and then you can like do whatever you want of the kid that is the movie. I'm here, I can have fun with the movie, and I make the movie. Being a writer is like being a dad, but all you do is birth it, and then you hand it to a bunch of psychopaths, and they do whatever they want with the baby, and then at the end the baby is just anything, and you're just like, hi, all I did was just hand it off, and 800 people punched it, and that was it. And I just like that of the writer, of like how they're the unsung heroes who are like, here's this amazing script, and the directors and the actors are like, cool. Yeah, it's just it just makes me sad.
Okay.
Which is why I personally appreciate a good old writer director. Like
Yeah,
when the director is involved in the screenwriting process is when
absolutely.
a movie comes out the best.
Yeah. No, I mean, not 100%. I mean, there's plenty of movies that are not like that, but there's plenty.
yes,
Like, yeah,
obviously.
I do agree with you that a director being involved in the writing process of not being a main writer, you get one or two people's visions instead of 80 producers, some guy who's written on the bottom of the page, and then the director's vision.
And like one bigwig signing everything.
And more explosions. Thank you, producer. Like,
I'm Michael Bay. Can I do that? I'm literally not sure I can
Okay.
put more explosions in here, sir. I am Michael Bay.
We are doing really good at tangents. All right, so round 2. She got Star Trek Went Perfect on a respin. Does anyone remember what she spun away from?
Oh man.
America's Aunt. That's what they called her in Rick and Morty, and I love it.
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver, America's Aunt. I love it.
I like that. I like that. You have
Yeah.
American Dad, and I like that.
Yeah, no, it's great. I do think they say America's Hot Aunt, but I wasn't going to say that. And then he spun Dance and spun away to opponent's choice, and they gave him Dance. And this was the most important steal ever, because they came in the round 2, Riley had 9, Liz had 7, she went perfect, and I was like, so he has to go perfect. And then he lost that 2 point, and I'm like, she's gonna steal it. And then she did, and I'm like, boom. And I thought that was the end of the match. I really did. I was like, there you go. That's a 4-point swing. That's insane.
That was great for her. Yeah, Riley was in trouble at that point.
Just one miss. You guys remember back in the day when that would just, every round 2, you made one, you missed one, you stole one, who cares? Like, everyone's going to get a couple steals and everyone's going to get a couple misses. Nowadays, you miss one and they steal it, you're fucking screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't write down what the question was, but then leaving round 2, it was 14-17.
Right. And then round 3 happens.
It sure did. Do we want to get into that, or does Dan want to say something about round 2 first?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say, and I was trying to send you guys only a photo and then accidentally send it to the group chat and may have sent a spoiler to some people, but I'm not
I don't have my
entirely
phone
sure about
on
that.
me, so I can't even.
Okay, well, at one point I noticed like there were 2 Rileys on the screen.
Oh no, I had it written down. You're right. There were 2 Rileys on the screen. I got it literally written in the margin. I wrote 2 Yodis.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When he was spinning, it was no Andrew Guy and a Riley, and then Kate and a Riley. There was 2 Rileys.
Right.
And it was hilarious. I almost took a picture of it myself, Daniel, but I knew I was the only one watching it live. So,
I was a little bit behind, and but I saw that and I was just like, what, huh? And I really love little like live things that happen like that, and especially watching the pay-per-views, like when you buy the live ticket or you are a member of the Patreon, and here's a plug for being a member of the Patreon of the Schmoedown, which everybody should do. This is a tangent worth doing.
I agree.
And yeah, like honestly, getting the little inside things as well as getting all the matches like at a discounted price, and also getting all the exhibitions, like getting to see a little bit, especially when you're like more than just giant nerds like us, but giant performing nerds like us.
Whoa, a nerd
who really like just like to see kind of how the production works a little bit more, and you do get a little bit more of that in the live feed than you do in the very polished edits, which I also really appreciate. I usually go and rewatch them, especially for big live events, because I like the good, like the well-dubbed music on top of everything that you can't quite hear on the live ones, and yeah, so there's a lot of fun differences between the two.
I love it when there's a random, consistent audio problem throughout the entire live. Like when Roka was like, okay, I was saying blah, blah, blah. And we're like, we got to do this the entire time? And it was like, Ben, what's your answer? Blah, blah, blah. What's your blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that was so bonkers. I forgot that it was even live because I'm so used to them doing at least one before. Like the pay-per-view isn't 100% live; it's mostly live, and I'm okay with that. I remember being in the chat of it was the free for all, I think. Yeah, it was a free for all. And I remember somebody in the chat being like, I can't believe they're not doing this live. I'm like, you can't believe they're not doing this live? Of course they're not doing this live. You know how many people and how many working, you know how hard that production is? Like, it's hard to get, like, 4 people for us to do this show. Sometimes it's like, wake up, Dan. What are we doing? Who's coming? Sorry, Dan. I had to throw you under the bus. But it's like, it's hard to just put us
okay, together. When's the last time Lou's been here? No.
Last time you fell asleep on me, he came on and he didn't watch the show yet. It was really fun taking over Let's Get Ready together, wasn't it, Dan? You left me with Dave.
I had a blast.
Of all people, me and Dave representing the channel. That's false representation.
I am a little disappointed that there was no mentions of who's the boss in this match, because Andrew Guy is my favorite person ever. But
I do like Andrew Guy a lot.
The way he was so confused in the Lightning Time match, anytime Ethan or Wynn mentioned playing with him, just makes me feel so bad for him. And I want to
character. Yeah, oh my God, it's so good.
I just wanna keep him safe, and I don't know what's wrong with him, and yeah. And also, I guess, plug for Free Guy, but let's spell that Ghai.
Yeah, I do love that. I famously like to make fun of Bateman because I'm not a huge Bateman fan. I don't extend that to the rest of the Action Guys. I love Andrew Guy. Like I have an fightable love for that man. And I've been watching a little bit of them going over the match. I've been doing like a show on Sunday or something. I've been watching it a little bit. And Guy, he has my number. Like he'll throw out these little tiny jokes and I'm like just dying. I know I'm the only one getting them. And like that guy just gets me. That Andrew guy just gets me. Was there a round 3, Ben?
Nah. We ended the match tied after 2 for some reason. It was really strange. First match to ever go down like this.
I think wasn't it on KO? No round 3?
No, they just gave both competitors the W because we love Shannon Miller and Riley so much that they were like, here.
It was beautiful. It was great.
You guys are making my heart like row 3 sizes like the Grinch over here. All right, Riley.
But no, one of these competitors did have to lose the match, which broke all of our hearts.
It's like that every time Riley plays. Like I said, like when Riley played Janine last year, I was mad because I'm like, cool, one of them has to lose, you jerks. Like, because I'm like, I don't want any of these guys to lose. What are you doing? And this is exactly like the same, but I feel like Liz has proven herself a lot. Like Janine was in a slump at the time. Liz is not in a slump. Like she's not even close. She's looking really good. Like Lightning Time's looking really good. So
I feel like
she can lose a match.
I feel like Liz, Shannon Miller, and Video True are both having seasons of their careers right now. They're both getting better and better, and I can't wait to see what comes next for both of them.
Yeah, I almost want to bring up a match from this week, but I'm not. I'm not gonna, because that's what we're talking about.
Tune
We're
in
not
on
gonna-
Sunday for that. Come
Like-
on Sunday for that.
Like Liz even said herself, like she has only lost matches to champions,
Yeah.
and like
and this isn't
she,
any different. Yeah.
no, even I mean, win or lose, that was going to be the case after this match, but it is just less than only losing to champions. She has only lost to championship level performances.
She's,
Like you go look at her losses, and the other competitor had to play in order to beat her. And I will also say, on the other side of that, I did have confidence in Mark Riley going into this round 3, and I don't know what it was. He was down 3 points, but I was looking at that and I was like, okay, it's not the 4 point. It's not like, and then I was just like, okay, so it's within the 5. Like that is, and I know Mark Riley can answer a 5-point question. That is one thing I can say without a doubt about Mark Riley, because
that he can answer. Yeah.
it's just like when you think of him, he's that like a deep knowledge player. He's the guy who watches movies and doesn't forget about them. And I thought, like, I am confident in his ability. And Liz Shannon Miller, I'm also confident in her ability, but she's had the luck of her 5s landing in her wheelhouse. And that's not to take away from anything. Like, it's just movies she's watched, but it helps that they're also movies she's enjoyed. And so I thought that it was really a toss-up once we got to the 5 being the thing that would make the difference in this match.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was great. Do you want to go question by question, or do you want to?
I mean, I actually I don't have the questions written down. If you've got them, feel free.
No,
but
no,
I was just gonna break them down as the 2, the 3, the 5, because when I'm looking at the round 3, it's such a grab bag that I'm just looking at question difficulty more than what the actual category or question was. I mean,
right.
for stats purposes, the categories are interesting sometimes, but. And yeah, so we're with Riley being down 3. He has to answer the 2 and the 3 before Liz answers anything.
Right.
But the best part about the 3-point difference is if you answer the 2 and the 3, your opponent has to answer the 2 and the 3. The 3-point, if you're down by 3 points, it's one of the best places to be, because every question you answer forces your opponent to answer questions. If you have the 2 and the 3, they need the 2 and the 3. And then if you have the 5, they need the 5. And then it's one of the best places to pressure an opponent when you're behind.
I actually do have the questions written down.
All right.
Well, mostly.
Because
I have keywords.
I love this
but
Makuga ass round. So
Yeah,
let's get into
let's go
it.
into it.
I have keywords written. I have the answer and the category, and we have 3 amazingly smart people here. So I'm including my child that I'm looking to in the monitor, and I'm discluding Daniel. So me, Ben,
God
and my child are 3.
I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, going, man.
I'm kidding. Jeez, take a joke. And my cat just walked in, so I'm gonna get rid of my cat. It can say hello, hi. Getting it out of
Just for that, Star Trek is better than Star Wars now.
Yeah, well, you don't even believe that. So. If you were a Trekkie, I might get mad. I love getting Trekkies mad, though. It's like my favorite thing. I remember there was a guy who bought like this $300 like Borg square ship, and we were at his house, and me and him didn't get along anyways, but we had all the same mutual friends, and I was like, "What's wrong with your Death Star? It's square." And he just got so pissed. I'm like, God, it's so easy to get you guys riled up. That was all it took, and he was so mad. I feel like Star Trek fans or Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans that partied. Like we actually hung out and had a social life. Anyways, so the round 2 question for Riley, or 2-pointer. So he had his 2-pointer and his 3-pointer before Liz had to answer. So he had Tom Cruise was his first, or his 2-pointer category, and the answer was Lions for Lambs. Never seen it, but all right.
It's okay. It's the one Riley did.
Yeah. So this one didn't make any sense to me. So this is a 3-pointer, and Jodie Foster said this sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Hotel Artemis is a sci-fi film?
Thank you.
I believe it's a hotel on a moon, but
no, it is. Is it? I've only seen like bits and pieces in the trailers, but it just looked like a John Wick knockoff with like some underground like hospital you can bring like the underground people to. It didn't look like a sci-fi film.
I did have on Twitter. Yeah, I'm right with you. Sci-fi, this an action movie.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I never knew it. Like, it doesn't say. Yeah, I don't have my phone on me. If Daniel or somebody can look up, what does it categorize it on IMDb?
On IMDb.
Isn't that normally what they go off of? Is the categories on IMDb?
And this was like action crime. It takes place in 2028, and it is about a high-tech hospital, actually. But
okay, all right, it's future.
Yeah,
Barely.
Okay.
Yeah. And
fine.
Actually,
Fine.
honestly, this plot synopsis does sound kind of cool, and I'm just disappointed that movie didn't look cool, because like it's a hospital for underground criminals in the future, and that does sound super fun.
I didn't know future part. It just sounded so much like John Wick. I was like, oh, so this is like the hotel, but it's a hospital. Like, that's all it made me think of. Like, oh, so the hotel from John Wick, but it's Jodie Foster running a hospital in it.
If you want a good John Wick knockoff, watch Nobody. That movie
I've heard it's amazing.
It's incredible.
Amazing. Yeah, I heard it's amazing.
And if you like Back to the Future, and if you like Christopher Lloyd, he's awesome in it.
Christopher Lloyd's in it?
Yeah.
All right, I'm watching it now. I didn't know that part. I just thought it was Bob Odenkirk, and that's enough for me normally. I love Bob Odenkirk. I love Bob Odenkirk because for so long he didn't have a career, and then he did Breaking Bad, and now he has like a great career.
Watch Nobody. It's amazing.
For no reason at all didn't have a career, because he's
amazingly
goddamn
talented.
phenomenal.
If you go back and watch him and David Cross's Mr. Show on freaking HBO in like the late 90s, like they are so good then.
Or just any of the improv he does on like Comedy Bang Bang and all of that.
Oh yeah,
like,
all that stuff.
So fucking funny.
Don't forget about all the guest star appearances he's made. He's been in every sitcom from here to End of Time.
Also, he has like non-comedic extra roles in all the 90s comedies. He's just in the background because he was just friends with all of them. Yeah. I was watching Cable Guy because my wife's never seen Cable Guy, and that's a guilty pleasure for me. It's Ben Stiller. I love it. It's such an underrated Jim Carrey, and he's doing a lisp, and he's playing a psychopath. I love it. But Bob Odenkirk's like a brother or a brother-in-law of Matthew Broderick's character. And when they go to like a dinner party, Matthew Broderick punches Jim Carrey, and Odenkirk's like, "How dare you!" And he's like playing it super serious. I'm like, Odenkirk, what are you doing here? It's so random. Anyways, now that's a tangent.
This is the Bob Odenkirk show. What a goodness.
Let's talk about Bob Odenkirk. I would do it whenever you guys want to do a Let's Talk About Bob Odenkirk show. I will do it. But all right, and yeah, so the Hotel Artemis. I guess it's sci-fi. I would have never got that even if I knew it, because it would have thrown me off that they said sci-fi. I would have never gotten that question.
It does seem like a sort of no blank board answer of just like kind of honestly, how many movies has Dave Bautista been in? That's how you break it down.
With Jodie Foster.
The possible science fiction tag.
Yeah,
you're just okay, so he's been in what, 4 science fiction movies? Eliminate the 2 Guardians ones. There are 2 left. Like,
there's
which
Riddick?
one is it? Pick one.
Yeah. So my first thought was like, Jodie Foster wasn't in the Riddick movie. Like, what? Like, yeah, that was my thought. Like, what are you talking about? It's the only
and also,
sci-fi
like,
I
wrong
can think
year, I think. So it's just
not even close. Yeah, not even close to the right year.
If you told me she was in Fate 2049, I might have been like, okay, I could see that.
Okay, yeah.
But, still like, okay.
That would have been the
fair,
second.
The answer I was thinking of was like, fucking, what the hell's that terrible ass movie? Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, there you go. Jupiter Ascending. Neither of them were in that garbage heap.
Yeah, but I was like, that's about the right year. It's some science fiction garbage. It's Dave Bautista. Maybe. Maybe he's a rock dude.
That's one of the maddest I've ever been in a movie was Jupiter Ascending. Honestly.
Never saw it.
No.
I went to it live. I was doing a it's now a dead YouTube channel. Go ahead and watch it. My unprofessional movie reviews I did for 5 years. That was the name of the channel. And that was one of them. And it was like right after Eddie Redmayne took the Oscar away from Michael Keaton for Birdman and won it for frickin' Theory of Everything, which I was very upset about. It's very upset. I think that was Keaton's. I think Birdman's one of my favorite movies. It's so good. And I was very mad. And then this movie was filmed beforehand, and it was put out like after Redmayne won the Oscar, and it was like to get that little bit of money. And that he is so god-awful in this movie. And the whole time I'm like, he got this over Keaton. Like it was punching me in the face. Every time he was horrible in a scene, I was like, best actor. Like it was just, it was so bad. You know?
Had he ever been great in anything?
I mean, he does Oscar bait and does Oscar bait right. That's all. Like Dangerous Girl. He did Dangerous Girl as good as he needed to, but it was an Oscar bait. Whatever.
I feel
it.
like most people who are casting Eddie Redmayne just can't afford Matt Smith.
I was gonna say Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
He is definitely like like Benedict does everything Eddie Redmayne does, but with talent.
Yeah, well, I specifically chose Matt Smith because like I don't find Benedict Cumberbatch does mopey very well. And that's how Redmayne is cast often, and Matt Smith does very well.
He does that little, introvert.
Yeah, exactly. You need that weird shoulder hunch.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm cute, though, right? Like, that's all of it. Anyways, talk about Hufflepuff again. Ugh. Freaking Newt Scamander.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Movies. I said Hufflepuff, and you were like, "What?" Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
that was pretty well done.
we somehow made this episode last an hour. Turns out me and Daniel could talk about literally nothing. So
yeah, nothing or anything.
Yeah, well, everything, which equals nothing when you're supposed to talk about one thing.
Yeah.
which we have sort of talked about.
Well,
do you have Liz's 5?
I have Liz's
literally
2
the
and
last missed question.
no. I have Liz's 2 and 3. No, we're gonna do this right. She had a 2010s question, which was about the answer was Channing Tatum. I don't know what the question was.
It was Magic Mike.
No, that wasn't it. It was a different one. Was Magic Mike? That was the question that he missed. Was the Magic Mike one? Was the what song does he sing or what band? What boy band? It was a movie I've never heard of. So
no, it was, okay. I remember the question. It was what actor was in these 3 movies?
Yeah.
It was Foxcatcher. It was maybe it was
Foxcatcher was the only one I knew. Out of those 3, it was Foxcatcher was the only one I knew. So I was like Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo, or Steve Carell. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 random movies in Foxcatcher.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, Channing Tatum, and then the next one was in fantasy sci-fi, and it was here was your Blade Runner question, was who was an actor who played this character in both Blade Runners, and it was Edward James Olmos.
Right.
Does anyone else go back to the Family Guy quote of death is talking about what he has in his wallet or in his robe or whatever, and he's got a picture of Edward James Olmos' ass? And it's Norm Macdonald's voice. Got a picture of Edward James Olmos' ass. I always think that when I hear Edward James Olmos. I'm sorry.
No,
Family Guy ruined my generation. It's specifically Norm Macdonald's voice, or maybe it was.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, but
I'll find it and send it over to the Facebook later.
I was never the biggest Family Guy person. Futurama was my one and only love, and I think most cartoons are inferior.
I have a lot of cartoon loves. Okay, you can go ahead and be monogamous, but I can be a slut of cartoons, and I can love multiple. I got my Rick and Morty's. I got my Gravity Falls.
I will give Rick and Morty a pass. I meant of the time, the Family Guy, the Futurama, the Simpsons, American Dad, Cleveland Show, blah 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 blah, South Park. Which I did sort of enjoy some seasons
of. And King of the Hill, yeah. There was that little bit where King of the Hill, Family Guy, and Futurama were like the reason to watch Adult Swim. Because that was the beginning of Adult Swim. It was early 2000s, junior high.
Yeah, I will concede to King of the Hill, the greatest joke in any show ever, where Hank's WD-40 won't work, so he pulls out a smaller can of WD-40 to spray his can of WD-40.
Oh, that's so good.
I think my favorite animated show right now is I hate to be stereotypical, but South Park.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I always got to take South Park out of it. I
just need to break it into chunks.
South Park's
early
4
South
shows.
Park.
It's its own show. Yeah. And then mid shock humor, let's just get canceled, and then they gave up, and that's another show, like the Cripple Fight time. And then when they got into political and made every episode an amazing satire. And then when they tripled down on that, which is what they're doing now.
And literally when in season 17, they just decided, you know what? Just for a change, let's add continuity to our seasons. And you're just like, what? What just happened?
That literally fucked me up. I was like, but Kenny dies. What are you doing? But you don't have, that's your whole thing. All right. Okay. So Edward James Olmos' ass. That's what brought us here. So her answering that put us to the question that everyone's gonna say was the best guess ever, which was the family films, which blah 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 was in blah 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 with the blah 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 starring, and he said Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The way he said it convinced me it wasn't that. Because I was like, is it Diary of a Wimpy Kid? And he's like, I don't know, Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I'm like, oh, maybe I was wrong. And then Ellis was like, correct. What?
Okay.
That was amazing.
I grew up in a time.
Okay,
where,
I'll leave and come back. This sounds like a long one.
No, I grew up in a time where reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid would have been a thing to do, and I was an avid reader, and I didn't read Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I didn't either.
Its movie just kind of came and went, and you're asking us about. It was one of. It's like it's the child star in a movie nobody really saw, in a book that like some people read, and it's like, what the?
Yeah. Now that's a 5-pointer. That's a 5-pointer. I feel like there are certain people like who were in that wheelhouse, and they're like, "How do you not know that?" Riley's old, okay? Like we're young to Riley, and I'm 30, so I'm 32, and he would call me boy if he met me. So it's a hard question for that guy, and he talked about it in his post. When he recognized
Roka's 1,000 and Riley would call him boy.
I'm pretty sure Roka's older than Riley. I think Roka's the oldest.
Again,
except for maybe
Roka's
Alonzo
1,000.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're saying Roka would call Riley boy.
No, Riley would still call him boy, even though he's 1,000 years old. Just be like,
I want to know how old that guy, like Roka, actually is. He's got to be what, mid-50s the way they talk about it. Like, he's
actually not that much older than most of the competitors. That's the reason it's so funny. Is he's like 3 years older, and they all joke about it as if it's 15.
Well, it's not like Harloff and Ellis are young. Like they're old. Their careers have been going back. Their careers go back multiple years, and they start off as grinding it in the Comedy Store for 10 years before they ever started a YouTube channel. Like, yeah, they're all old.
And so, the final thoughts on this match here. I am very happy Riley won. This was both like a win he needed and a win he needed to show everybody, because people talk way too much shit about Riley, and I really do kind of take some offense to that, because like some of my favorite competitors have extremely bad luck that doesn't like reflect how good they are at the actual game.
Mine too.
So it is just like, especially when you see the competitors who within a year, within 6 months, within a couple of weeks can turn lackluster performances into insane stretches to singles titles. I'm sorry, now I'm calling out Ben Bateman. But the point being, like, any person drafted into the Schmoedown can do that. They can go perfect in a match and just win everything. And I'm really happy that like Riley got to prove that again. He's always going to be a top competitor. It's just how many people get ahead of him in the rankings is a very different story to how many people get ahead of him in actual legacy or like prowess in this game, because he knows an insane amount. The one thing I will say for Liz is I'm sad, because I wish she had got. I want to see more competitors get 2-0 runs so that they can start moving towards belts. It's so hard to win 4 matches in a row.
Yeah. She had her run kind of, but she got cut off early and then playing here. But if anyone out of these two could take a loss, it's Liz. Like, Riley still has that stigma of being in like a slump, and he needs to come back up. Liz doesn't. Like, Liz is on fire this year, even though she's had 2 singles losses, but she's also had a singles win and a pretty good title or teams run. So Riley doesn't have a team that's on a run right now, and she does. Like, I think that she's not going anywhere, and he needed a win. And I was that dick who was like, oh, she's going to destroy him. And that's why I said it right away, because I have to be straight up. And I'm glad I'm wrong. I really am. I'm glad Riley won. That's awesome. And so I'm glad I got proven wrong on that. Ben, you've been trying to talk for a while. Me and him keep telling each other in the private chat to just keep talking so Ben doesn't get to talk. So I'm kidding. You looked at the private chat. I was joking. Go ahead and talk, Ben.
I don't even have it open.
I know you don't. That's why the joke was so good.
Everything I'm going to say, I agree with everything you said, and I think this year Riley found a faction with Kate. That makes sense. I don't think I understand why he was with Gucci last year, but I don't think that was the best place for him, personally. And I think he had a good place right now. Fantasy one comes next. That is the more Riley. That's all I'm going to say.
Like, Gucci's not he's not an actor's director, right? Like, like, he's a big picture guy in Barbarian. He does all of his work. But when you talk about the managers that are very player oriented, you got Roxy. I think Kaiser. Some people disagree. I don't disagree. I think Kaiser's very. And you got Kate. Kate's one of the best, like, how do I work with this person? How do I make this person comfortable? How do I make this person succeed? Not everybody. And also, sorry, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Coy. Coy's amazing with that, too. But I think if Riley was with any of the people I just mentioned, maybe lesser Kaiser, more with Coy, Roxy, or Kate, I think that's what he needs. He doesn't need anyone to tell him to study. He needs somebody that makes him feel comfortable, like he needs a good actor's director.
You know who Gucci is? You made a good comparison. I'm going to add on to it. Gucci is like George Lucas.
I knew you were going to say that because the worst Star Wars are the ones he directed, but he could make the best world ever. But the best time that world shines is when Irvin Kershner directed it, and Irvin Kershner hasn't directed any other good movie besides Empire.
So what you're saying is Bobby Gucci may have the best, like, strategy for being a manager, but then he starts speaking?
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. And then Barbarian goes, sorry, let's take this mic. As I was saying, Barbarian should do all of his interviews. Like, Gucci he should be the guy in the shadows.
Definitely.
Just because I
do really like your thought of, like, Coy being very close to that. I think
he's a really good one for that.
I think Roxy I might replace in that equation with Sam Levine.
I
disagree. Put him below Coy.
No.
The reason is I think Roxy would actually push too much. I think the way Roxy, although they are very old friends, so that might, like, change some of that too.
Roxy and Riley?
But, yeah. But the reason I say that is, like, Roxy, the way she really does push on her players doesn't seem the way that Coy and Kate are very more getting him in the zone he needs to be. And I just think Sam is a good thing, would be a good fit because of the people around. Like, it's all people of the same mindset as Riley. They're all the high concept, high knowledge, like, encyclopedic minds of the Schmoedown.
I feel like we should. If I was Lou, I would be writing the private chat wrap up. But I'll just say it because I'm a normal person. But I feel like I think we covered a lot of things, and now we're just going to tangent for another hour. And I didn't think we were going to be able to stretch one episode for an hour.
I was going to say one rapid fire of Mark Riley's next opponent. I'm going to say Drew McWeeny.
Well, who's on a win right now? McWeenie is, right?
I actually think he is, but I just threw a name out there.
No,
and I thought
McWeenie
that would
played
be a nice
Barbarian.
matchup.
McWeenie
Yeah.
and he beat him.
I want to see Riley McWeenie now.
Right. McWeenie beat him, right? I'm not being crazy. McWeenie
Yeah.
beat Barbarian.
Or do we give him
Yeah.
a 2-0 rookie?
No.
Griffey
No.
Noom?
I
got
hate that. No.
I
The
got
Ranger?
it. I got it.
No.
I got it. Real quick.
All right.
Riley versus Snyder. Done. Boom.
Is Snyder on a win?
No,
Snyder's on a loss.
Snyder is in the next sort of couplet tournament, mini tournament bracket to face
He's playing Chance.
Marisol
or right?
/ Smets /
No.
Dan / Irwin.
Not Smith. Chance.
Okay.
Marisol's playing
Chance?
Smith.
Yes, listen. Chance, Snyder, JTE, Adam Collins are all in a quartet who are going to play each other and then a number one contender, and then they're going to play the pre-tournament match. And so, like, that singles title match, anyone playing in that will be knocked out of the tournament.
Yep,
and so
you're right.
there's a chance that there are 3 corruption players who cannot be in the singles tournament.
Say the names again.
Chance, Chance
Not
is going to
Marisol.
play. Yeah, Chance is going to play Jeff Snyder.
Yep.
And Adam Collins is going to play JTE. And the winners of those 2 matches are going to play each other.
Yep.
And then the winner of that match will play Dan, Irwin, Marisol, or Kevin Smith. Whoever.
Smith. Keep saying
Kevin
Smith.
Smith. Yes, I do keep saying Kevin Smith.
Two very different people.
I'm trying to think of like
Smets
9 different competitors at the same
Smets
time.
would destroy all of them. All right, I'm gonna say that right now.
In singles competition?
Yes, everything.
No.
He destroyed him in a foot race. All right, Smets is unbeatable.
I'm sorry, I love Kevin Smets, but Marisol McKee would take him in a singles match.
I'll be
Corruption
that
forever.
Daniel, let me tell you right now, you're going to be the commissioner of the draft next year. My number 1 draft is Smets. Period. I don't care. He's my number 1.
I should actually go change my name to commissioner with a KO in all the leagues.
Yeah, because you're so biased. All right, so
exactly.
We should get out of here. But we did it. We talked about one match for an hour and 12 minutes. We're pretty good. All right. No, we talked about everything else and then dabbled into the match for an hour.
Hey, we stayed mostly Schmoedown related, or at least movie related. So that's better than most episodes.
Except for when I went on a slashers tangent and you went on a Harry Potter tangent.
Again, movies.
Yeah.
Like we have gone on much farther trips.
All right.
Let's do this.
Okay, let's get out of here, Ben. Tell the people the things you got to tell them.
Find me at Ben_Ranger on Twitter. You can find me every Friday, every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze, every Friday on Recapping the Past, every Saturday on Get Ready, or on every Saturday, Mount Schmoedown. The Schmoedown show where we're going to players' careers. This summer we're going into factions. Tomorrow we're deep diving into the fitness stock exchange.
Ooh, wow, you're getting the 2 big ones out of the way. You did Dungeon last week. I was on that one. And at FinStock Exchange. Wow.
So are we saving the best for last in corruption, or is it coming up?
No, we did the best one already last week. I already said it. We did the dungeon already.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. First of all, you were on it. They're not asking you for the best.
He said pick one. Ben let me pick one, and I said dungeon, and he said, yeah, let's do it. It is the best.
Didn't let Ben pick. I said I am on the corruption episode.
I know, but you said you did it, so it must not be the best one. I said this is the best one.
As Ben was saying, you can find him basically every day on our channel because we've absorbed all of his shows.
It's his channel.
Yeah,
His channel, we
right?
all just hang out here.
He's got a 51% stake of all the runtime, at least.
Pretty close. Hey, my Star Wars show has at least 10%. All right, I'm not going anywhere. I get
Also, if
one
we
vote.
never leave this episode,
You guys just want to say screw it and do a 48-hour stream right now? Let's do it.
I can't.
absolutely, except I cannot because I have my
can't.
friend's memorial tomorrow. So,
I'm the only adult in this house. How scary is that? So, and I have a 1-year-old in the other room that I have to pay attention to.
I'm
Her
barely
baby
the
monitor
only
is
adult in
running
this
it.
room.
Whoa. All right.
I'm the only person in this room, okay?
Daniel, besides right here, right now, what else do you do on this channel and other channels, maybe?
Yeah, you can find me around here, but I'm honestly more often on our Facebook page because with my odd schedule, it's just easier to be in text format than on live video. But you can find me around pretty much everywhere. Comment where like Schmoedown is being talked about, and like I'm working on a couple of projects that like I want to eventually get my TV show podcast up and running again and relaunch that, but I kind of need to find a new platform for it. That's a whole thing. I'll figure it out, and then if everything goes well, I want to get that Dungeons and Dragons show going out soon because I've been like working on this weird friggin' concept, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like you were saying, like
I feel like
so
you messaged me in like February.
Yeah, I don't think it was February, but I definitely messaged like a long time ago with just like I have this idea, and
hey Taco, you're a nerd too, right? Yeah. What's up?
Absolutely. And yeah, I really think it could be fun to like get, especially this community. I think most people in this community have like an affinity for the it's the theatrics, it's the weird like battle between like the players and like the party that they're encountering. Like it's all a lot of similar like little like aspects that come into both the Schmoedown and professional wrestling and live theater and also actual play podcasting. So if anybody's interested, I mean, definitely I'm looking to do a bunch of different little things within that sort of realm. So I'm open to joining a show or running a show. So have that.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'm going to be here tomorrow talking about Star Wars on Let's Talk About Star Wars. I'm doing Let's Taco About Star Wars. There you go. I said talk about. Oh, geez. We're doing the Clone Wars era Jedi tier list. So we're actually doing a tier list of 29 different Jedi. Everyone from Yoda, Mace Windu, all the way to Crook and like all these I'm a Gundai, which I really didn't want on the list, but Dave pushed him on me. And yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow. So if you guys haven't watched that show, you should check it out. It's me and it's Gold Leader. Well, he just goes by Evan on the show, but he's awesome. We have an amazing back and forth. And yeah, so please check that out tomorrow. And if you want to find, if you're in weird art, when I'm not doing this, I'm actually a painter. And I went to art school and all that stuff. And I have an Instagram, Mark Taco Face, all one word, no caps on Instagram. I got some really weird art on there. And that's all I got. So are we good?
Pretty much. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, have
All right.
a good one.
Ben, play us out.
Moo, moo.